Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week, another month, another year here with Moving to Georgia. I am Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, real estate agent serving the North Metro Atlanta area, and I help people just like you relocate right here to Georgia. And I cannot start off today without talking about how cold it is in Georgia today. So, normally once a year we have snow, and unfortunately, although it's cold enough for snow right now, we're not getting any. But I think this morning it was like 16 degrees whenever I drove to my office, and the high coming home was 36. And that got me thinking, a lot of y'all, this our high of 36 is like a really warm day for a lot of my relocation clients. I talked to a guy today from Maine who is moving down here. And yeah, he told me that the high was 23 where he is, and they had just gotten a foot of snow overnight. No, thank you. That sounds terrible. And a lot of my clients frequently kind of laugh whenever they're here and it's cold. I was with some clients yesterday looking at houses and I'm like, y'all, this is not normal. It's just really, really cold. And this is like a cold snap that we're having and really unusual. And they started laughing. And they're like, no, this is warm to us and it feels great and it feels amazing. So if you are just joining me, please tell me where you're watching from. Oh, girl, I think it's girl, right? I'm so happy that you commented and you joined us on the live stream because I love your comments on my YouTube video. So thank you. Florida is coming to the party today. So welcome, Florida. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, I'm so happy for you to be here. If you have any questions about the real estate market, let me know. Go ahead and put those in the comments. But yeah, if you're just joining us, say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. I love to see everyone and say hello. So thanks for joining us and spending some time with us on this cold Wednesday night. Hopefully, oh gosh, okay, you're a guy. Well, your comments are kind of sassy. So, right? Yeah, your comments are kind of sassy. So I like your sassy comments. In the South, I guess we associate sassiness with the girl. I think I'm digging myself a hole here. Anyways, moving on. Tell me where you're watching from. And thanks for joining us. I'm super excited to get into it tonight. So let's just talk about it. That is our bidding wars back already. So it's my job to prepare you for the real estate market, especially if you're thinking about making a move here to Georgia. I can't speak to what exactly the real estate market is like where you are, but my job here, hopefully you're joining me because you have some sort of interest in possibly making a move to Georgia. And my job is to educate you on what you can expect, what it's like living here. That's the whole purpose of the channel, right? And so I've been so blessed and thankful to get to help so many of you make the move here and purchase your home here in Georgia. So shout out to Dee Dee and Chris. They relocated from Illinois and closed on their great house last week. And then we also welcomed Ami and Elizabeth into their great home. They closed on that last week. They were from New Jersey. And we actually have another viewer joining us from New Jersey. So we have helped quite a bit of clients relocate from New Jersey. Yeah, and everyone has loved it. Knock on wood, I have not had a single client yet in the past 3 years that we've helped since this YouTube channel make a move here that's purchased a home and hasn't absolutely loved it. So lots of great people. If you ever want to connect with anyone that has purchased a home here from another state and you're on the fence about making a move, or you're like, yeah, that would be great to connect with someone that's gone through this and done it, let me know. I'll be happy. I have amazing clients that would love to share their experience and just kind of talk about what it's like being here from another state and getting settled. All right, so back to it. Our bidding wars back already. Yes, in short, they are back already. And I wanted to share with you something, and I forgot to do something behind the scenes. So give me like a few little clicks that I have to do. I was recently kind of what prompted the reason to talk about this is I was, there's Facebook groups for everything these days, right? And if you are a real estate agent, there's a gazillion Facebook groups that you can be in, and everyone wants to give their opinion and ask questions and talk about things. I mean, being a real estate agent is just a completely different kind of like subculture on the internet is what I found. But I came across this great post, and another real estate agent in another state was asking, like, hey, what are y'all seeing in your state? Are multiple offers back? So I wanted to share with you some of the comments that I saw from across the country and some here from agents in the Georgia area. Um, James was an agent, this was just yesterday, 24 offers on a house that he wrote on yesterday in upstate New York. Jennifer, she's in Northern Virginia. She had multiple offers, with the winning offer waiving inspections and went over in price with no closing assistance. They had 5 offers in hand. Dawn in North Georgia put 3 separate offers for 3 different clients in the last 24, and all 3 of those homes had multiple offers. And then I saw another agent in the Atlanta area said, yes, one property had multiple offers, one in the first 2 hours, and it sold to a cash buyer. This was crazy. This Seattle agent said that they're seeing multiple offers. He lost on a $1.5 million offer, or on a home. It had 11 offers and went 20% over asking. I need to do the math on that, but that's $350,000 over asking, if I'm doing the math on that correctly. I'm sure I'm not. And then we had another agent in the Metro Atlanta area, Marietta, saw someone with 20 offers over asking, or not 20 offers, but 20 offers. And then another agent, 30 offers on her first listing of the year, 6 offers. They're in the North Atlanta suburbs. The North Atlanta suburbs are on fire. So this is from agents all across the country. And I pulled some of those that I saw that were here in the Metro Atlanta area. And I just wanted y'all to know that buckle up, Buttercup. As my grandmother used to say, loan one, you'll like that. I think we're in for a bumpy ride here going into 2024. Now, knock on wood, this whole setup is on like a wooden bar stool because I'm really fancy. So I'm knocking on wood on the wooden seat here. I don't anticipate things to be as crazy as what they were during the pandemic years. I mean, 2021, 2022, early parts of 2022, you were having to, I was making phone calls to agents and saying, hey, how many offers do you have? Not do you have offers, but it was how many offers do you have? And any of those, are they cash? That was a frequent conversation. So I don't think that we're quite into that 20 and 30 offers on homes, but I do think competing against 3 to 5 offers is definitely going to become the norm, especially for the best houses. So it's really important to note that the reason that we're in the situation of bidding wars being back or slowly on the brink of coming back is the fact that inventory is drastically down here in the Metro Atlanta area. And it's like that all across the country. So the more popular of an area you are wanting to be, and that people are relocating to, seeking out, the harder it's going to be to get a home. And frankly, we're kind of seeing that all across the Metro Atlanta area. So all of the videos that we make here on the channel, which you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that. It helps my channel grow, helps me reach more people like you, and helps you stay informed of what's going on here. So new videos every single Monday now. So check that out. We moved it from Sunday to Monday. Apparently that's supposed to be better for the algorithm, and we'll see. Let me know if you like that. But yeah, every single Sunday, brand new videos about what's happening, new developments, new areas that you need to know about here in the Metro Atlanta area. So going back to those bidding wars, we're talking about how there's, in some of these areas, 20 to 30% less inventory than what there normally is. So in the meantime, as we're talking about this, if you have questions about making a move or the real estate market, buying a house in general, let me know. Go ahead and throw those down in the comments, and I'm going to pull those up and ask those as we get going here. So I think it's important to note that I'm telling you that inventory is down, but I really want to show you that inventory is down. So I'm going to share with you kind of like behind the scenes here of the MLS system. So the multiple listing service. This is stats that we can pull. And this right here is for December of 2023. And I am looking at the area of Cumming, Georgia. So Cumming is very popular. lots of great new construction there, really great town, really convenient to Alpharetta. And one of the great things about Cumming is that you have really great schools there as well, similar to Alpharetta, but without kind of like Alpharetta price tags, but it's still kind of expensive. So let's look at homes for sale. So if you'll see here, this is comparing December 2023 to last year. We're down almost 25% of homes. We have 25% less homes available for sale in 2023 versus December of 2022. And that was still kind of a very competitive time. So let's look at the sales price. So if you look at the average sales price for a home in Cumming, that is up 11.2%. The reason that it's up is because inventory is down. That is what's continuing to keep putting upward pressure on prices. And this is despite the really high interest rates that we saw in 2023. Now, thankfully, there's great news because interest rates are trickling down. So we're right now kind of like in the mid sixes, and there's talk about seeing numbers with fives in front of it this year. So that's super exciting. But let's just take a look at, let's look at Alpharetta. We talked about Alpharetta. All right, here, Alpharetta, their home prices are up 15.7% compared to last year. Let's look at homes for sale. They're down 12%. So not as super competitive as Cumming, but there's still not a whole lot of homes for sale, right? Another popular area that we serve is the area of Swanee. So let's see what that looks like. Swanee, we are down 38% in homes for sale compared to December of last year. And then let's look at that sales price. The average sales price is up 25%. Now, not every single metro area in Atlanta is experiencing this crazy growth in terms of home prices. I think Gainesville is up maybe 10%, maybe a little bit less. So there's lots of great areas that aren't experiencing this craziness, but you just need to know this of what's ahead. So I talked about mortgage rates. So let me see if I can. Okay, yeah, let's add this. All right. I talked about mortgage rates. So one of the reasons that we have such low inventory in this area right now is because so many home buyers have a really great interest rate that they either got whenever they purchased the home over the past 2 years, or they refinanced into that low rate. So let me get rid of this banner so that you can see the whole chart here. So this is saying 78% of current homeowners right now have a mortgage rate less than 5%. So if you're one of these 78% of people, almost 79% of sellers or homeowners, if you go out and buy a home right now, you're looking at least 1.5% more in interest rate with the current rates of what your mortgage would be. A lot of these buyers, let's see here, majority of them have 22% have a rate less than 3%. Then we got 36% with a rate between 3 and 4. So that's 58, 50, almost 59% of homeowners have a mortgage rate less than 4%. So what we're seeing right now in the market is that people are only selling if they have to sell. It's still kind of like a really hard decision of, yeah, we might want to move because we want a bigger house or we want to be in a different location in town, closer to work. And even though we may make a bunch of money, our mortgage payment may double based on what the interest rate is because the interest rate is doubling. So that's a real conundrum that buyers or would-be sellers that would become buyers are facing. So pretty much a lot of the inventory that we're seeing right now hit the market. Like I said, you've heard me say this before, people that have to sell because of jobs, maybe someone in the family died, maybe someone's getting married, they just had a baby, they need more space, they have to have more space. 2 families moving in together from divorce, all of the time, those things are going to continue to happen. And that's pretty much what we see a lot. I have a great client who's about to list their house tomorrow, and it's because they are moving back to be closer with family because of a great job that they took. So they're moving across the country. Those are the types of people that are selling their homes, and there's just not enough of that happening. And that's why we're seeing home listings down, 15 to 25% in some of these areas around Metro Atlanta. So, what does this mean for you as a buyer in 2024? I mentioned earlier, mortgage rates are expected to hit the low fives, not low fives, I wish, right? Um, we know that the Fed is expected to cut the federal interest rate 3 times in 2024, which is what they've talked about. So we're expecting to see that in March, May, and June. And even though it doesn't have a direct effect on mortgage interest rates, they are correlated. So we are expecting to see that kind of nudge down mortgage interest rates. Here's what's going to happen. All of these buyers are going to say, wow, mortgage rates are headed down. This is a great time to go buy a house. Things are finally looking better in the real estate market. Let's go do it. Well, they're having that conversation along with hundreds of other people that they know. So the challenge is that we're not going to get enough homes to satisfy all of these buyers that are going to be entering the market saying, finally, now's the right time to go buy a house. And that's why we're seeing bidding wars start to come back. So I would just strongly encourage you, as we've talked about before, if you have the ability to make a move sooner rather than later, and you can kind of control that process, go ahead and jump in now, because you still have an opportunity to negotiate some with sellers. All right, Lone One Trenton. Of all the places in Metro Atlanta, where would my fellow Gen Z folk be? After all, I'm a youngin' and not old. All right, so you are going to see a great mixture of people all throughout Metro Atlanta. Obviously, the closer into Atlanta you are, the more diverse of a population it's going to be in terms of age, race, religious, ethnicities, all kinds of things. So I would think that you would see a lot of younger folk. The closer that you can get into Metro Atlanta, which is the kind of like the inner perimeter ITP, as locals call it, which is that 285 loop that makes around Atlanta, the closer you are to those, the more expensive it is, which is a downfall. So sometimes whenever you're thinking about making a move to a place, even though you may really want to be someplace, your budget may not allow you to be. So I think the great thing is move to a place that you can afford, that fits what you're looking for. And sometimes that might mean being in an area that you don't necessarily want to be long term, but that's a great landing place to build equity in a home, sell that home in a couple of years, and then take the money that you're making and go buy in the place that you really want to be. So that is something. So you brought up a good point here, and another one is rent not being as cheap as what you thought. And I just spoke to another relocation client today on the phone, and the conversation was, I'm thinking about just renting, but then I went and saw what the rental prices are, and they're wanting $1,800 to $2,000 for a small 2-bedroom apartment. I'll just go out and buy. Well, part of the reason, and then her follow-up question was, and we were talking about the Gainesville market. She was saying, is Gainesville a good area to purchase a house in? If she has to sell in a couple of years, is she going to get that return on her investment? Is she going to be stuck holding something that she's not going to be able to sell because of the area? All valid, great questions, right? So my advice to her was, hey, one of the reasons why you're seeing rent be so expensive in the area that you're looking is because it's such a good area. Landlords, apartment buildings, they can charge that rent because there's a great demand for housing there, and there's not enough homes for those people to go buy. So they're forced to rent, or maybe they're not in a position that they're able to buy, or they're only here for a little while and they need to rent. So whenever you see really strong rental rates in an area, that's great for the real estate market. As soon as you see rents starting to cut and decrease and lower and lower and lower, that's a sign that demand is waning in that area. Also look at development, things like that that's happening in the area. If a town is putting up new neighborhoods and new restaurants and new shopping centers, those are all great indicators that you are in an area that has a lot of strong economic growth, which Gainesville has. So It is really hard right now because not only is rent expensive, but the average price point of homes here is kind of expensive as well. So let's, I wanted to, so talking about average price point of homes, I came across an article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Business Journal, and they had a great chart here. This is showing home prices, the average home price in Metro Atlanta in 2020 was 285,000, going all the way back to March 2020. If you go and look at where home prices ended in June of 2022, that home price was 52% higher, almost at just over 425. So that's a huge increase. That's saying that home values on average appreciated 50% in 2 years. And you know what? That's right. We experienced that 20% just about year over year appreciation between 2020 to 2022. And this past year, as you see, we looked at those stats from Cumming and Swanee and Alpharetta. Let me add this back up here. Here we see that the sales price, the average sales price is up 11%, 15%, 25%. So that's still very healthy home price appreciation. So where I'm going with this is, homes here have gotten more expensive, and it makes it hard whenever you are thinking about making a move. However, one thing that you need to know is that the Metro Atlanta area is still a really great area to consider making a move to. In fact, Zillow named Atlanta as one of the hottest housing markets in 2024. Yeah, Lone One says, let's go back to 2020 and go back to those prices. I was helping a former client today. They wanted to know the value of their home if they were to sell it. And I went back and looked at what we paid for her home in 2021. And at the time, whenever she purchased this home, I, as a real estate agent, was a little bit shocked at what homes were selling for. It was high. And here we are, flash forward 2 years later, she would make easily $150,000 on the sale of her home in just 2 short years because of those home price appreciation. So looking at what she paid for it 2 years ago, I'm like, that seems like a bargain. Now, hindsight's always 2020, right? That's what makes real estate a pro and a con of investing, right? Sometimes we look at the sticker shock now and we're like, dang, this is expensive. But if we could go back in time and buy, we would. So I guarantee you there's going to be people just like us, Lone One, looking back at home prices in 2024 saying, gosh, I wish I would have bought then. So, definitely have to make sure that it makes the most sense for you. All right, so let's get into, let's see here. The Zillow article I want to share with you. So let's get rid of that. No, thanks. Zillow predicts Atlanta will be one of the hottest housing markets in 2024. So here is the list of the hottest housing markets that they're predicting for 2024. And this is based on demand, home sales, job growth, local economics, all kinds of things. I think it's very interesting, or maybe not so interesting. All of these cities are on the East Coast. I'm still a little bit surprised that there's so much growth happening kind of like in that Midwest and a little bit north. I'll be honest. Anything kind of north of Tennessee to me is the north. So the fact that we're seeing Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, I refer that as the north, but really that's the Midwest, right? So it says Zillow predicts Atlanta will be one of the hottest housing markets in 2024. It's projected to have strong demand, steady home values, and a growing number of homeowners and job growth. It jumped up to number 6. It was up 3 spots from where it was last year. So they're predicting for it to be even hotter than it was in 2023. And I think the important thing for you to know is that for a lot of people relocating from across the country from other states into the Metro Atlanta area, it's still very affordable comparatively to where you're moving from. And you have so many other great benefits like low property taxes, senior home exemption from a huge chunk of your portion of your real estate taxes, depending upon the county that you're living in, and just an overall lower cost of living. I was talking to my friend Ami, who closed on their house last week, and they relocated from New Jersey. And, I love talking to clients and kind of asking, like, hey, um, what did you discover when you moved down here that you didn't quite really understand before you moved? And I'm always looking for great ideas for videos and making sure that I'm getting the best advice and helping you just know what to expect whenever you move here. And he said that, he's like, I felt like we were really well prepared. And the one thing that was so surprising to me was the cost of living, just how much cheaper it is here in Georgia compared to New Jersey. He said that his natural gas bill in New Jersey would be $600 a month in a normal house. And, here he gets his electricity bill, it's 115, doesn't even blink an eye. Same thing for water and things like that. Just amazed at how inexpensive things are. And I hear this all the time and I talk about it all the time. So shouldn't be a surprise. But he said he didn't quite understand and realize just how nice people here are. He said just everyday interactions are just so much more pleasant and caring than in a lot of places across the country. So that just always warms my heart because it's nice to hear the place that you live is overall generally very friendly and a very, very pleasant place to live. And so you hear people talk about Southern hospitality, but it is a true thing. I have to tell you a funny story. I was at a real estate conference in Michigan last summer, all the way up in Traverse City. Beautiful place in the summer. And I was there and we were sitting outside enjoying the beautiful weather, ordering some food at a restaurant. And the waitress was not that friendly. And I was sitting with a couple of other real estate agents from all across the country, some that were from right there in the Michigan area. And there was another great agent in Nashville that was sitting with me. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, she wasn't very nice. She's not being very friendly. And the other agents who were from Michigan looked at me and they were like, what did she do? I'm like, well, she was just kind of rude when she came up to the table, like how she spoke and, her responses to us. This is not how things are done in the South. Like usually it's like, hey, my name is so-and-so. What can I get for you today? Thank you. Just lots more nicer. That's not the right way to say that. Just way more hospitable and nice and kind. And to them, though, that was normal. And I was like, oh, wait till you come down south and experience how people treat you down there. It was a drastic difference. And so me and the Nashville agent, like we knew, we were like, this is not how things are down here. So that is something to know. Jennifer, we are planning on moving to Georgia in July. I have to watch this from the beginning because I'm curious about bidding wars. Yes, you do. And Jennifer, you have to reach out to me because we need to talk now. If you're thinking about making that move in July so that you are prepared. So I started off the top of this show talking about how bidding wars are coming back. Really, the main things that you need to know is that there's not enough homes for sale. And with interest rates coming down, more and more buyers are going to want to come out, buy a house, which is just increasing competition. And even though I've been talking about this for a little bit here on the channel, knowing that this is coming, what we're seeing is it's already happening in the market. So I just want to make sure that all of my great buyers that I'm helping, make sure that you are prepared. So I never got to it, but let's get into it. I am going to share another great article that really kind of prompted this conversation. And I saw these, comments from agents across the country that were experiencing these bidding wars. And in fact, I had one, not necessarily a bidding war, but on a listing that I just had listed last 2 weeks ago. And we ended up with 3 offers on the same day. And the seller was able to negotiate some really great terms for themselves. So bidding wars erupt as 2024 kicks off with some listings seeing over 30 offers. And really, here's what you need to know. Improved mortgage rate means buyers are coming back, and that means competition. We're still not going to see enough homes come on the market for sale. And this Yahoo News article goes into The drops in interest rates, which we've talked about, and how there's still not enough supply out there in the market for clients. So, you know, the thing that you need to know is that you got to be ready. So what this means is that um, whenever you're out looking for a home, you're likely not going to have more than maybe a day to think about if you want to make an offer on that house. Pre-pandemic, sometimes you would see a home and you would think about it for a couple of days, and then you would decide that you might want to make an offer. This is not the market for that. You are definitely going to have to make decisions a little bit faster. And so that's just getting really clear on what you want out of a home and getting familiar with the area and where you want to be. And those are all things that a really great agent is going to be able to help you with, like myself. And that's one of the reasons why I love making content like this, is to help you have a good basis so that when you get here, you're not just starting from scratch, and you can kind of add to the knowledge that you have gained from watching these videos. Another thing that's important for you to know is kind of like, what tools do you have available in your toolbox as a buyer making an offer that's something different than the price, that you can kind of help make that offer a little bit more attractive to the seller and make it a win-win. And I do this with my buyers all the time in our buyer strategy sessions. So let's get together and let's talk about all the things that you can expect and what tools you might feel comfortable with of making the offer even stronger when the time comes. So if y'all are thinking about making a move to Georgia, my contact information is directly below this video. You can book a call with me and we'll get on and kind of talk about your situation. One thing I say here is that it's never too early to have a conversation with a real estate agent. And I'm going to like put an asterisk beside that, because sometimes it is too early. Occasionally I will get some really great clients, sweet, sweet people that are watching, and they'll reach out and they'll say, hey, we're moving here in 5 years. We want to talk about the real estate market. And I'm like, well, that is great. Are you prepared to buy a house within the next year? And oftentimes they're like, no, we're going to wait until 5 years. I don't know what the market's going to be like here in 5 years. They'll tell me we're going to have a budget of 500,000. Well, if we go back to that graph earlier, someone that had a budget, let's say of 300,000 back in 2020, they could afford a house then, but a couple of years later, home prices have they increased by 50% here. So they can no longer afford a lot of areas. Yes, there's a lot that happens. And a great follow-up question: when do you think the housing market will catch up with the demand? The housing market is going to catch up, I don't know, ever, but I will say that it will become more in line as interest rates continue to come down, and we hold that for a steadier pace. Because the challenge that we're experiencing here in the real estate market is, what was that? We did the math. I did the math probably wrong. And in a previous chart, like over 7% of homeowners have a mortgage rate less than 4%. Here we go. Yeah. So 22% have a mortgage rate less than 3%, 37% have a rate less than 4. Add those together, that's more than half of homeowners right now have a mortgage rate less than 4%. So right now it's really painful and expensive for them to sell. And so a lot of people are just saying, you know what? I'm good. I'm just going to hang tight and make do with my home. We'll renovate. We'll put the kids in bunk beds and put them in one room together. That's the type of thought process that a lot of people are going through. So it's going to be a while before we see the demand keep up with homes that are available. So there is right now a great opportunity in new construction. So the hard thing about builders with new construction is that they are very pessimistic about the real estate market always. And so even though we've had strong, steady demand, home prices appreciating over the past couple of years, they are very finicky whenever home sales start to slow. They oftentimes kind of like slow their building. And that is part of the reason that we're in the challenge that we're in right now, is because home builders for the past 10 years longer than that, since the recession in 2007, 2008, have they drastically, well, one, a lot of builders went out of business. And then two, they became way more conservative in their building plans and processes, and they did not build enough houses. So for 10 plus years, we've had under building happening all across the country, which is a large part of the reason that we are in the mess that we're in. So great question. And if y'all have any additional questions, please let me know. Um, I got someone email me this question, and I thought this was good to talk about here on the live stream. It says, we want to move to the Swanee area and we're looking for new construction homes under 600,000. What are the best neighborhoods to look? And I often get great, calls and emails and people reaching out wanting to talk about new construction. And let me tell you, it's a challenge because there's only certain areas in the Metro Atlanta area where you can find single family new construction home. And just think, the further north you drive, the more options you're going to have for a more affordable price point. But a lot of these great areas that we talk about here on the channel, Duluth, Swanee, Johns Creek, Alpharetta, Cumming, Buford, Swanee, all of those are really older established towns that have a very strong foothold and are pretty much all developed. And what I mean by that is that there's just not enough land for a builder to come in here and say, yeah, let's clear out this area, put in 200 homes. No, the builder might be able to put in 3 or 4 homes, and then they're going to charge $1 million plus for those houses, just because there's a great demand for a new construction home, but there's a lot of people with money willing to pay to be there. So sometimes new construction isn't always available where you're looking, or your only new construction option is going to be a townhome community. So a builder can take 3 to 5 acres of land and put in 10 to 15 townhomes where he could only put, 4 houses there. So they would have a bigger return on their investment, a little bit of easier process. So that is something to keep in mind. So if you're just joining us and you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please make sure you do. I am Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, and we help clients just like you that are watching relocate here to the channel. And I lost my train of thought. And we put out videos every single Monday. And we're going live here now every other Wednesday to answer your questions about moving to Georgia or the real estate market, and kind of share with you information in the moment that you need to know if you're thinking about making a move. So if you have any questions, let me know. Put your comments, whatever you have to say. Now, this is a good one. Lone One said, South Georgia is the answer. Yes, lots of new construction opportunities in South Georgia. There's other parts of Georgia that you're going to find great new construction options for a more affordable price. And here's the caveat. There's always a trade-off, right? So there's a reason why homes are more affordable in South Georgia and in other parts of Georgia than they are in the Metro Atlanta area. And a lot of that has to do with job availability, economic availability, things like sports teams and shopping centers and, all the things that people want to be around. You're just not going to find that in South Georgia. Trust me, I grew up in Valdosta, which is the southernmost city you can get in Georgia before you get to the Florida-Georgia border. I say that, the first kind of like big city ish. It was still very small growing up. And, it's great. There's really great things about small town living, and there's a lot of things that are not so great about small town living. But if you are relocating from another state, have a very specific budget, there are great options for you all across Georgia, including some in South Georgia. So if you need a recommendation for a great agent, I have great connections all throughout the state, and I would love to make sure that you're being put with a really great agent that's going to treat you like I would and give you some really great advice. So reach out to me, book that call or send an email, and we will get you connected with the right agent that you need. Thank you, Jennifer, for joining us here and asking such great questions. So I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for watching. So here's a little bit more information. Some of these slides I didn't quite get to. Let's see here. Let me go back. Speaking of home price performance, what we're expected to kind of see over the next couple of years. This is just something that you would want to know, that home prices are going to continue to appreciate. And now keep in mind, this is national prices as a whole. So I am expecting to see home price appreciation growth a little bit higher than this here in the metro Atlanta area. But what you can see is that this is all going up, up, up. There is no red, there is no crash happening. And listen, if you're watching me on YouTube, you're probably watching a lot of other great people, and you're probably getting fed a lot of videos for you to click on with headlines like housing market crash ahead in 2024, all kinds of videos. That is such clickbait to get you to watch a video. And if you go back and watch, they've been talking about the housing market crashing for years now. So just make sure you know like where you're getting that information, do your own research, pull your own stuff together. But the best advice I can give you is the housing market is not crashing, barring a war or anything that's like we can't control or no one can foresee. Um, it's only going to get more expensive. So I just encourage you to keep that in mind as you are out there home shopping and thinking about making a move. Everything has to be right for you on your time, though, and everything has to kind of fit. So it's never the right time to buy a house if it's not the right time for you. So keep that in mind. All right. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the live stream. If you have any questions that we did not get to, make sure you reach out to me. I'd love to answer those. Spend some time with you personally, getting to know you and helping you make a move right here to Georgia. Again, I would love to be your real estate agent, and you're going to find my contact information directly below this video. There's a link there. You're going to be able to book a call with me. We'll hop on, meet each other, talk a little bit more about how we can help make your goal moving to Georgia or somewhere else here in Georgia a reality here in 2024 or beyond. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that. And I will see y'all with a brand new video this coming Monday. See you soon.